They went full 360 in this design. Let's go. Hello everyone, MARKCHES here. Welcome to the channel, and for today's video, of course, it's a review on the EQLZ or EQLZ 360. So this is the 360 model. The first shoe that they came out, of course, is the 247 or for everyday, and no pun intended, but they really went 360 with this design in terms of performance. So we'll talk about why I said that, but first, of course, let's talk about the box. So the box is a top loaded box. It opens, it's very basic. It has a brown paper, brown tag, very eco-friendly. And this one, I think, is the tech, but we'll talk about the tech in a bit. Yeah, nothing to see here anymore. EQLZ paper, which is also brown. So this is the 360, and if you've seen or if you've played with the 247, it caters to a different type of player. So for the 360, it caters more towards the fast, shifty player. With that being said, because of the upper shroud of it, the outer shroud, so this white part here is like a claw, and it looks very aggressive from lateral and medial side. So that is to contain your foot laterally and medially and give you a better one-to-one fit. And I would say it's pretty effective. It's not just for design. Although it looks very aggressive, it's like teeth or a claw that it's about to scratch you or bite you. So that, I think, is the design language of this sneaker. And this leather wrap is embossed too, and it has kind of foam in between. As you can see, this part, these are like embossed. It has foam in it, and you would see there's ample structure to it. So it bends like this, but it doesn't stretch, which is very good, especially when you're doing lateral moves with this one. It really catches your foot, and you could feel it really hugging your foot. Just tie the laces nicely on this one, and you're good to go. And I would say even the heel containment lockdown is pretty good. There's an internal heel plate here, or heel cup, that cups your ankle quite nicely. Plus, this foam also goes up and contains the bottom of your heel really good, so you won't twist your ankle. It's a low-cut sneaker if you're looking at it, but the shroud here gives it like a mid feel, so it kind of protects the upper ankle or the front ankle. And of course, this also is a leather that gives extra structure to the upper part of the ankles to give you more stability to the sneaker. And I would say this is a pretty stable sneaker. It has a very wide forefoot, but it has a very nice curve to it compared to the 247. The 247 has a more flat forefoot, so like you could do more planting for a jump shot with that. It's more for stability. But for the 360, it's more for when you're doing crossover. There's a very nice transition when you're doing crossovers with this, because there's a very nice curve to the forefoot traction. So it's really catering more for the shifty player, in my opinion. Even the aggressive support really is for those who are shifty, so that you won't have any delays when you're doing lateral moves, when you're doing Euro step with this one. The cage really contains your foot very nicely, so that you won't have any delays in your shifty moves. And underneath that is what they're calling it, a Ghost Knit 3D integrated fit technology. So I would say if you have the Yeezy before, it has a similar thickness to it. I would just search it, Yeezy. Yeezy 350, so kind of have the same thickness to it. There's a lot of structure, so I would say still gives the support. Very comfy, and there's a thinner part of the knit, which is of course this upper part, so there's more ventilation. You don't need that much support here on the upper part, and it goes until the back part of the sneaker. So this one is more an open mesh structure, so there's more breathability in this area. So of course on the side, on the lateral and medial side, it's thicker. It cages your foot a bit more, and you can see the black areas. These are a little bit thicker compared to the white portions of it. So it's a little bit more padded in those areas, gives more structure and durability. Plus they added leather here on the toe area too for protection around your toe when you're doing toe drags or got stepped on. There's still some protection there. And yeah, this is a very well thought of sneaker, I would say. There's a pull tab at the back, and there's some paddings here when you're tightening up the laces so that it will still be comfortable and there's no discomfort here. This area is padded, so this really, like I said, caters more for shifty players, because if you're comparing it with the 247s, the 247s feels a bit higher off the ground. The cushion is thicker, but these ones feels lower to the ground, and it says that the cushion is a P-back split zone. So I would say it's a dual density foam, and if you can see the white portion of that area, so it's just a narrower part, so that is more on the supercritical foam in the middle part, and that surrounding area is like EVA. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's a dual density setup, and the insole is quite nice too. This is what I like. It adds extra comfort. I think this is also a supercritical foam insole. Correct me if I'm wrong. It says here, I think it's just supercritical insole too. Didn't say here in their details or specification. So yeah, this adds extra comfort to the sneaker, and for a low to the ground sneaker, you feel like there's a nice bounce to it and subtle impact protection. Of course, it's really low to the ground, but the insole will help that in terms of impact protection. And I actually like the heel to toe transition of the sneaker. It has a very nice curve, and it bends quite nicely through this cage. That's why there's spaces in between, so that it bends very flawlessly and naturally, so that there's no materials bulging there when you're running up and down the floor. And there's some window picking here for the supercritical, and it's very plush and very bouncy when you're pressing it, so quite nice. And now let's move on, of course, to the traction. It looks like it has a brain like pattern traction with this one. It's a completely different traction pattern, but it says here it has a cheetah or like a jaguar. Yeah, it's the inspiration of the traction, but for me it looks like a brain. And I kind of remember the New Balance Kawaii 2 with this traction pattern. And speaking of that, in terms of traction, the traction of this one is also very legit. I would say it's like a top traction pattern. So this is also based on data patterns of your foot strike, but overall, like I've said, there's additional traction here in the middle part. So when you're doing crossovers, when you're really going low to the ground, still has a grip on the edge of the traction. And yeah, traction feels good, very dependable. Don't need to wipe often. It's very durable in my opinion. It has thick rubber patterns here, and it grips really nicely on the floors. Another thing about this that I really like is the laces. They're flat laces, but they have that thickness to it, so it's not that regular flat laces that easily loosens up, but this one has some ample, like it's like a dual layer flat laces, and you can squeeze it, so when you're tying it up, doesn't loosen up, which is good in this model. So as for the weight of the 360, this is a US 11. So for this one, go with your true to size if you're a regular footer. It's a different sizing with the 247. The 247 kind of runs big. So for the 360, I am true to size US 11. It's more true to size, and if you're a wide footer, go half a size up and you're good to go because the knit expands. So I think just a half a size will be okay. And the weight of this on the US 11 is 450 grams. For me, US 11, that's average weight, so it's not too light, it's not too heavy, but when you're playing with it, doesn't feel heavy at all. Of course, the weight will be coming from, of course, the knit. The knit is usually heavy, and the leather, but overall doesn't feel heavy. It feels actually very responsive, which makes it light, in my opinion, because every responsive sneaker will not feel heavy even if it's heavy at all, but this one, and it has a very nice heel to toe transition too, very for shifty players too, very supportive in my opinion. This two leather piece at the back on the ankle really does its job. It pulls your foot down to the footbed and secures your foot. So very solid basketball sneaker. If there's one thing that I would grade on this one is, of course, the cushion. I hope that it will be a little bit thicker on the next edition, but that's just my opinion because I want cushion, especially right now, just recovering from injury. But in terms of the responsiveness, traction, you feel fast in this, you feel very secure, so very good, solid, dependable basketball sneaker. And this is priced at $130 US. It's $10 cheaper compared to the 247s, and that's around 7,700 pesos here in the Philippines. So let me know what you think about the EQLZ 360, and they've been killing it. Very good design language in terms of the shoes, the 247, and this one, very nice premium materials too. And yeah, kudos to EQLZ for making excellent sneakers right now and really stepping up their game too. So this has been MARKCHES once again. Thank you for dropping by the channel. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace!